Okay, so in his definition of evolution, um, Dr. Coyne gives five summary points. The first four summary points, together with my revised version of point 5, which I'll give in a moment, that will be what I'll mean by the term evolution. Okay, so 5 prime is as follows, and it's based on Coyne's premise, or not premise 5, but point number 5. 5 prime. Much of the evolutionary change was caused by natural selection, which is one process, perhaps the main process, perhaps the only process, which is a process of producing adaptation of the organism to its environment. Okay, so evolutionary change was, in at least a large part, caused by natural selection. That's the basic idea of 5 prime. Now, by the term revolution with an R, I'll mean an atheistic worldview with a strong focus on evolutionary thinking. So there is my distinction between evolution and revolution. Evolution is 1 through 4 and 5 prime, and revolution is, again, an atheistic worldview with a strong focus on evolutionary thinking. That's my distinction between evolution and revolution. Now on to the critique proper, my critique of the talk, Why Evolution is True by Jerry Coyne. The basic structure of his talk is that he gives what amounts to a definition of evolution, the 5 points I discussed in the first video. Then he gave evidence for those 5 points. And then third, he quotes some statistics, which he uses as a springboard for talking about revolution, which again he is apparently conflating with mere evolution. At least that is the impression he gives, that evolution is identical to revolution. Coyne's evidence for evolution is threefold. First, evolution makes certain predictions, which scientists have verified. Second, there is retrodiction, where certain data are only understandable in light of logically prior evolution. And finally, he appeals to a lack of falsification. Evolution, as a scientific theory, can be falsified in principle. People have been trying to do so but have been unsuccessful. So that is his third line of defense for evolution. Now, I'm not a professional biologist by any stretch of the imagination, and I would prefer a more subtle treatment of so-called bad design, but it does seem like the evidence given in the talk does establish evolution beyond a reasonable doubt. So I'm willing to concede that yes, probably evolution did occur and has been, apparently, solidly established by scientists working in the field. But that's evolution, not revolution. Revolution is not a scientifically demonstrable view. You need to leave science and enter the realm of metaphysics for that. I don't think metaphysical argumentation is a bad thing, but it is a different thing from scientific argumentation, such as Dr. Coyne gave in the course of his talk. Let's come back to the fifth point in Coyne's definition, the one I didn't like. Coyne himself admits that this is controversial when he admitted in passing that while the first 4 points are solid, there is some dispute in the scientific community whether natural selection alone is the primary mechanism for biological change. He makes this admission at about 11 minutes and 30 seconds into the video. I almost fell off my chair when he said this, and I had to listen to it multiple times before I believed my ears. Richard Dawkins, by the way, makes a similar confession in his book, The Greatest Show on Earth. I forget what page that's on, though. I got the book from the library, so I can't, I no longer have it. I can't consult it to tell you. Why are these sorts of statements so incredibly and unbelievably remarkable? Because this is the main contention of the unenlightened, stupid, brain-dead, intelligent design proponents. The people who are disagreeing with the ID movement the loudest, including Coyne himself in this very talk, actually agrees with them. At least folks like Coyne and Dawkins agree with ID proponents more than they care to admit. But everybody who speaks out against ID, every single person I have ever heard in my entire life without exception, and I am not using hyperbole here, badly misrepresents what ID is. ID is so badly misrepresented by people unsympathetic to it that it almost causes me pain to listen to the ID attackers. ID is not anti-evolution. ID per se does not deny evolution. He himself has said 100 times that, quote, the case for common ancestry is quite good, unquote. Rather, what ID is saying is that some structures in nature, only some, cannot be produced by natural selection alone, and so evolution in the sense of only using the mechanism of unintelligent natural selection cannot be true. It is the exclusive mechanism of natural selection and the denial of intelligent agency which is the problem for ID proponents. And the major ID antagonists admit that it is at least scientifically respectable to say that natural selection alone may not totally explain all biological modification. It's really surprising to hear people who so loudly object to ID agreeing with the main thesis of ID, or at least admitting that it's scientifically tenable. And now you know why I was so anal retentive about natural selection in 5'. Let's continue focusing in on point 5. If it is possible to deny as a respectable scientist, according to Coyne's own estimation, that not all biological change is a result of natural selection, then it is possible to deny it as the sole cause of adaptation. So it is not a solid and undeniable fact of science that natural selection is the only cause of adaptation. I want you to notice that even the staunchest of young earthers admits to points 1 through 3, and they would admit to point 4 if the word all were taken out. Also, I think 5' would be okay with them as well. This all illustrates that the primary concern of anti-evolutionists is with revolution, not evolution per se, as I've already said. Alright, so we'll move on to look at Coyne's treatment of the statistics that he gives in video number 3. Thank you.